In 1789, our good old friend BJ Frankfurter dropped the hardest quote of all time.
7 years ago, in this world, nothing is absolute except death, taxes, and Bethesda dropping a really bad video game. It's really bad. It's not good. I don't like it.
Hi, I'm Joel, and I fucking hate Skyrim. For those of you who don't know, Bethesda is a game company known best for cult classics such as Skyrim, Skyrim Special Edition, Skyrim Anniversary Edition, and most notably, Skyrim VR. And as much as I love spending $40 for the 7th edition of a 13-year-old game, I don't wanna. Bethesda has to be by far my least favorite gaming studio of all time. Don't get me wrong, other companies suck too. EA. Excuse me, EA. But at least they have a good game roster to some extent. I mean, they release the same Madden game every year and people still buy it, you know? Sims is doing its thing, I guess. In 2011, Bethesda released what we in the biz like to call a super mid game, titled Skyrim. It's an open world action RPG and the 5th installment in the Elder Scrolls series. You see, Skyrim, she was special. You know, she sold seashells at the seashore. And if you want a video game, Sally was a girl to call. It released to immense praise, and rightfully so. A lot of aspects of Skyrim truly set it far above its peers in 2011, such things as gameplay, world diversity, and creative mission design. It released early November, yet by Christmas time the next month, the arrow and the knee jokes were already fucking everywhere.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
But there's something evil lurking around the corner. Something dark and sinister resting just below the surface. It's Sally again. She's selling seashells, but I promise you, she is not at your front door. On release, Skyrim was riddled with game-breaking bugs. There's this one Reddit post I saw talking about flying horses, invisible dragons killing you, and even a bug with quests that completely stalled all progression until you could fix it. Skyrim set a precedent in the gaming community. It told the producers of big companies that they can release a game in really any state that they want, so long as they have the fans' trust because they released a good game previously. To get a bit of an understanding what I mean by this, we need to fast forward a bit to the year 2077. Let's talk about Cyberpunk. Yo, Choom, check out this Preem BD. I just clipped off some gaunt corpo down the street. Cyberpunk was a heavily anticipated game, but it released in a practically unplayable state. Optimization issues, game-breaking bugs, and a bunch more. It was so bad that PlayStation had to pull the game from their online store and offered refunds to anyone that asked. In their defense, the devs have fixed performance issues since release, and they've added a lot of updates that completely changed the way the game is played, for the better. I love CP. I love Cyberpunk. I mean, to this day, it is in my top 5 favorite games of all time. It's very disappointing to know how the game was released, and it's even more disappointing to know that it's gonna always be in the conversation for having one of the worst game releases of all time. That is its legacy, which is why it frustrates me so much that Skyrim is so well regarded. It's a fun game, but in no way, shape, or form is it something monumental, at least in a way that I believe should allow it to stand on 2 legs to this day. On release, it had optimization issues, game-breaking bugs, and a bunch more. Does that sound familiar? I enjoy playing it, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of just a generic story that does nothing new or unique. It's medieval times, there's magic, and there's no dragons. But wait, there's dragons now, but you're not scared because you're a cool guy. So you fight and you get stronger, and the world's gonna end until you show up and you defeat the daddy dragon. Then you close the game, download a mod to marry Serana, and have little vampire babies with your vampire wife. The end. My issue with Skyrim and Bethesda is how well regarded it is. When the topic of Fallout 4 comes up, it's usually talked about like it's a really shitty reality show. You like it, but it's really bad. It's not good. I don't like it. Now, playing Skyrim today, you'd think, hey, it's been released on 3 console generations over the past 13 years. There's no way it has any types of bugs anymore, right? Unless. To this day, Skyrim is still resting in a pretty buggy state, with only 5 updates releasing since the Anniversary Edition dropped in 2021, and the most recent update coming out over 2 years ago. And the only way to fix some of these bugs are to download mods. That in and of itself is pretty crappy. But Bethesda had a Jimmy Neutron brain blast moment. They thought, why would we fix our game when other people will do it for free?
When I go like this, and then I go like that, I end up at the liquor store!
So instead of putting an actual effort into this cash cow they've created, they decided to make the Creation Club. It allowed mods to be downloaded directly from the game, even allowing console players to join in. Going on the Nexus Mods website and looking at the top 4 most modded games of all time, number 3 and 4 go to the Fallout series, and number 1 and 2 both go to Skyrim. Now let's do some math. If I pull out my handy dandy calculator, between these 4 games, there are, carry the 3 to the 17th power, 10 billion downloads. A game company this popular with entries this moddable, I get it. No Skyrim playthrough of mine would be complete without the Caliente's beautiful body enhancer and physics and collisions mod combo. It makes my vampire wife's boobies have 16 times the detail, but that doesn't give it an excuse. Oh! We as gamers shouldn't have to fix our game's bugs. We shouldn't have to find workarounds. It should be the people that are getting paid to make the fucker. The thing is, Bethesda sucks. But we made them like this. We allowed them to get this bad. And I genuinely believe that unless something monumental happens, they're gonna keep releasing broken and mid games that we praise them for fixing months later. Cyberpunk is beloved now because they fixed the game around the time that the anime came out. No Man's Sky sucked, but now it's like good and shit. But why couldn't they make working games from the start? Like, it makes me so fucking mad.
You guys have officially made me lose my marbles! You freaking fricks!
Don't you just miss the good old days of waiting outside GameStop for your day 0 copy of the new Pokemon game, hopping back in your dad's car, popping it in your DS, and then playing it the entire ride home? As a kid, I had the trust that if I played a Game Freak game, I wouldn't even think twice about if it was in a playable state. It just would be. But now this most recent release of Scarlet and Violet dropped with frame rate issues, low res textures, and people just straight up teleporting through the ground. As a whole, Skyrim was the first large scale game to release in a state like this. It set the precedent that you can drop games in this horrible state. And that's why I hate it. Game companies are infamous for crunch, where people go through long periods of unpaid overtime when a game gets closer to its release. But even with the crunch, these games aren't dropped in a playable state. I would much rather have these companies release a completed product with a healthy work environment, even if it means that I get the game that I've wanted forever a couple months, if not a year later than expected. This video was kind of just an excuse to yell a bit. I love video games. I've been playing since I was a kid. You know, I respect the craft. I'm in it for the love of the game. And I, like many others, just haven't been satisfied with the product that's been released over the past couple years. But after the rough landing and horrible reviews that Starfield got, I believe in change. I truly think that Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna release in a state that is way better than its peers. Right?